Hi guys, it's your neighborhood chav checking in. So basically I'm just going to make a video today on how to deadlift and also some basic mistakes that a lot of people actually make on the deadlift. So just to start you through, here's a brief summary basically of everything I'm going to be talking about. If you just want to read through this, and that's just basically a checklist if you want to go through it, so you can pause the video there and have a look. But yeah, let's get on. So first thing you want to do is make sure that you have got proper foot placement. So you want the foot placement so the bar is over your laces, you can see your toes. When you bend down to pick the bar up, your shins touch the bar. So that's, for me, I'm 5'6", pretty short, and that is basically how I set up, and it's perfect for me. If you're taller, it's going to vary slightly where your foot position is, and if you're shorter than me, it's going to vary. But for me, just make sure that the bar's in line with my laces, bend down to pick the bar up, and my shins automatically touch the bar. So that is how I set up. So taking it off after that, you want to have a slight wider than a shoulder width grip. So basically when you bend down to pick the bar up, kind of the outside of your knees are brushing against the forearm. That's generally where I actually have my grip. And generally you start off with, there's two types of grip you can use in a deadlift. You can use a double overhand grip, which is where you grab the bar like that. And if the weight gets heavy and it starts slipping out of your bars, you can do an alternated grip, which is basically like that one and like that. The danger with this is the hand that's underhand, overhand, one of the two, is basically you have a chance to, if you bend the bar with bad form and you're bending your arm rather than keeping them straight, then you can tear your bicep. That does take a lot of doing to actually do. So just stick with the double overhand grip if you're going to be starting off. Now, the next thing you want to take in mind is hip position. You don't want your hips to be really high. A lot of people start the deadlift with their hips really high. You want them to sink more into the ground, and that'll give you a stronger starting position and allow you to use your quads more. As throughout the entire lift, you want to keep your chest up. So really puff the chest out and have it up. Sticking your chest up like that and your shoulders down and back will help maintain a straight back. If you follow the chest up with the shoulders down and back, and you've got your feet in the correct position and your hips are in the right position, you'll automatically maintain a straight back. You'll never bend your back. So that's really important to do. And yeah, that's more or less it. Once your chest is up, also keep your arms tight, your lats tight. And you do that by keeping your arms straight, flexing your chest upwards, and as you bend down to pick the bar up, and as you grasp the bar with each hand, just make it tight, grip the bar as hard as you can, and that'll engage your lats, and that will help you to basically get a better lift and be stronger at it. The next cue you want to do is, once you've checked that your chest is up, your head's in a neutral position, and also that your hips aren't either too high or too low, what you do is to proceed to take the slack out of the bar. Now basically all this means is that you don't yank the bar off the ground. So what you do is you slowly pick it up, because on a normal bar, when you have the actual plate on, the bar itself, between the bar and the plate, there's a slight little space and there's a little chink. So as you pick the bar up, and that space is reduced to 0, so there's no space between the bar and the plate, then you can pull as hard and as fast as you want. But before then, if you do it, you do kind of yank the bar. It's like you're starting, stopping, then starting again. So it can be quite dangerous for your lower back. So just make sure that when you lift off of the ground, that you've taken the slack out of the bar and you've lifted it up off. So the bar's actually gone off the ground and now you're pulling. So then give it all you've got. Yeah, so that's basically the starting of the lift. So when you're pulling the bar as well, you also want to make sure that you're using enough hip drive. So you want to be, rather than thinking of it as a pull with the back, or even thinking of it as a press with the legs, as some people do, you want to think about pressing with the legs, extending with the back, but also driving the hips forward. If you think all three things simultaneously, rather than just thinking you're going to pull it back, then you'll stop your hips shooting up and everything will move in a nice fashion. So imagine kind of like you're pushing your legs down into the center of the earth. You're trying to dig into the ground, and at the same time you want to keep your chest up, your shoulders back and down, and you want to be thrusting your hip forward. and that should give you a very strong deadlift, and squeeze the glutes as well at the top. Once you reach the top, you want to, and that's the basically the concentric portion of the lift done. Now the eccentric portion of where you're lifting the bar down is you want to actually hinge forward slightly, a few degrees, keep hinging, and then sink. So basically that's how you actually perform the deadlift, and that's basically the outline and the way I follow and I actually do the deadlift. There are variations in the deadlift, such as the sumo deadlift. There's also different grips you can use, which I've talked about, but the way I'm showing you is the conventional deadlift, and depending on different things such as limb lengths and leverages, you might want to opt out to do the sumo deadlift instead. However, I don't know how to do the sumo deadlift, and I usually just generally stick with the conventional. The difference between the sumo and the conventional deadlift is that the sumo uses more of your lower back, therefore and it's got a shorter range of motion, therefore you actually use you can move more weight. But yeah, so that's basically the lift itself done. Now I'm just going to be talking over some basic errors that some people make, and we've all been there, we've all done that. You just want to get the weight off the ground, make the bar your bitch, and that's about it. So first thing I want to talk about is pulling. Once it's off the ground and you're pulling way too fast and you want a strong lockout, people hyperextend. Now, hyperextending to some degree is beneficial for your spinal erectors, as they'll contract more when you do this. However, it can be quite damaging to the vertebral discs in your spine, so you don't want to do that very frequently. So just get to about straight back. You get to straight back and basically stop there. Don't overextend and overshoot. Yeah, because you don't want to hyperextend, because you're just going to snap your back. Now, another common mistake that you can also make is standing. Basically, when you're setting up, is you're standing either too close or too far away from the bar, and what this may do is it'll cause a variety of things. Your hips might shoot up as a result of it, or you might just bend. You might end up curving your back. This is a very common mistake a lot of beginners make, where they stand too far away from the bar, or their shoulders are too far forward over the bar that their back curves. You want your shoulders to be just over the bar, and that's your starting position. Okay. So the next common mistake that a lot of people make is their hips shooting up way too early. So what happens here is that it's generally when you're trying to go for a very heavy load, you're going for a 1 rep max effort, and basically you put yourself in what you deem the strongest position. So it's very easy for you to shoot your hips up and then just simply use your lower back as leverage and pull the bar up. However, this does put a lot of strain on your lower back, especially not necessarily the muscle, but more the actual joints and vertebral discs in that area. So he is very prone to getting injured. A safe way to do it is a variation of that, which is called the stiff-legged deadlift, and that links into another common mistake that people do in the conventional deadlift, which is not sinking the hips. So they keep their hips relatively high throughout the entire lift, and basically their hips remain high and they just basically bobbing up and down. So both these things, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your hips are sunk to the correct level. Some people do it at about 90 degrees, some people do it at 30 degrees bend up, so they're slightly higher up. But what you don't want to do is your arse to be so high in the air that it's almost level with your back. You don't want that. You want to be in a position where you're kind of leg pressing the weight off the ground and thrusting your hips forward, and that's basically the general rule of thumb. Is you want to push with your hips and drive forward rather than actually pulling back, so as to speak. But yeah, that's basically it. That's my deadlift video. Basically talked you through everything that I know regarding the deadlift. Things which you could also try and do is use chalk or liquid chalk. So you could use liquid chalk. It's really good. You just shake the bottle, you put a bit on, it's liquid, and it just instantly turns to chalk powder. Something else you can use is also straps, and they're really good. However, they don't definitely really build your forearms. If you use chalk, it still builds your forearms. It just gives you nasty calluses in the side of your hands. In your hands. that's more or less it for the actual deadlift. I may have missed something out, so just comment below if I have, and I'll just write it in as an annotation. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and this is my deadlift guide. So yeah, don't forget to rate, comment, and like, as well as subscribe. And yeah, thank you very much. Bye.